Welcome back, everyone, to the third match of the day. We are starting Tremor versus Aeonix, and we will be loading up with a Cenobite on Wretched Shop set with Boo on the killer for Team Tremor against the survivors of Aeonix. Gonna go ahead and check the shack. We already see Renata working on the box as Ada is taking chase at a tile over here and will be chained, but she might be able to make something. She will be heading over to shack, but it looks like
incredible.
She will the tag.
Yeah, incredibly early find there. It's going to be very good. Early hit coming through as well. Going to be building up some of these Save Best for Last stacks. Interesting choice of perk here. Save Best for Last, not necessarily favored. Generally go for more Gem Aggression. That's a very nice blind there. Just going to be buying a little more time. Chain still managed to connect anyway, so Shack Palette is going to be going through, and also the original Pain there, applying that Deep Wound effect to Ada as well. That chain going a little bit wide there, but Ada does seem to be sort of cornered here. Going to be struggling to really leave this 4 lane. Can maybe try and make it work for a little bit of time, but in terms of getting anywhere after it's done, and you don't even need that big lunge going to be hitting there. Nice early down for Boo. Another day at the office.
Yeah, that vault's gonna look a little sus, but this is NA versus EU Ping. And on the note of the Save the Best for Last, I do believe the Save the Best for Last is a perk that a lot of NA Pinhead players enjoy. The basic idea being you tag them, you short cooldown, and you can immediately get that chain off, so they get almost no distance. We do have 3 separate gems being worked with the pain res coming off, and
yeah, seems to be what is favored here again, obviously. Every player's going to have different styles, so it's only going to be adjusted. We're able to find another survivor there. Once again, going a little bit wide. These chains need to be connecting. They need to be connecting consistently. In the meantime, you're happy to just take a little bit of regression. You're not exactly... It doesn't seem like you're too sad if someone goes off the hook. You're going to be playing in the exact right spot where you can just get right back on it the moment that you need to. And also pretty good, you know, if you're going to be tunneling anyone out of the game, might as well be the non-obsession, you know? Get those hits in nice and quick. Body blocks don't particularly matter once you have those stacks built up because you can just get on top of survivors so quickly. Corrupt has now been weighted out. That's the first gen going to be popping. Right now, relatively standard affair from everyone. And yep, there's the chain finally hitting.
It's interesting that we're not seeing an unhook coming in. I think might be going to second here, even though Boo was not exactly camping. Purging the pressure this gen that Ace has been working on, and iPick does go to second. Renato seems to be on box duty this game, as we now have Nia heading over to the hook, but she's going to get chased off, and I don't think they'd want to pull iPick at this point anyway. You'd rather let him hang for as long as possible so that you don't get an early tunnel, but Nia taking the tag, she will be running away. Actually, no, she's running closer to Shack. This could be unfortunate. She has Shack palette, I believe. No, she does not, so...
No palette.
Yeah,
and also right next to the hook as well. Going to be chaining, actually, cancelling the hook out, not quite, just about. So yes, able to get the save off, but the body block there is disgusting onto the Ada. Palette here is quite fortunate. Ada has the wherewithal to run past that, does not even care about it. This is exactly the problem. Save Best for Last there meant the whole long distance wasn't necessarily being made. This slugfest's not going to be very fun for Ada as the chain is good. There's the hook, and I don't think there's going to be any miraculous palette save. Ada out of the game. 3 gens done, but then also, yeah, I was going to say Nia on the floor, but getting picked up nice and quick there. Early kill, but 3 gens done. Still could go either way here.
Going into this 3v1, they're going to have to get Nia reset, and I believe they should not have all that much extra generator progress because they popped all the ones that they were working on. So we'll have to see what this gen spread is, as Boo is looking for the reset, I think. The gens that are remaining are kind of close. No, not really. This is a fine enough gen spread. But the map gives a good line of sight.
Yeah, gen spread is completely fine here, so you're not exactly worried if you're the survivors. You're not struggling into anywhere. However, that's a very early pallet drop. Again, the engineer playing this as safe as possible, dropping that pallet. You know, I guess the voices told her to, for lack of a better term. Working out there is going to be landing that chain, but they're also hearing the vault come through. Very lucky to be able to vault that back. But all of these chains, there's just so many of them, they won't disappear, and that's going to be another nice down. And once again, you see the values of Save Best for Last going to be doing everything nice and quick. Nice timing from Swatter though, opting to actually do the box while the carry is coming through. Just, it's a small thing, but make sure that you absolutely cannot be interrupted, because as you know on Pinhead, once those chains start, if that box gets to maximum, likely never going to be happening in an organized team, but you never know if it can be interrupted, if Pinhead can grab the box, if it can just spell disaster for your prospects of ever doing a gen again.
Yeah, and this is a position where, because Nia is hooked sort of in the middle of these gens, Boo can just sort of stand in the middle of the open here. He's got the ability to send a chain towards the gens and just check if anyone's working on it. And then he knows where people are if he needs to commit. Renato is working a gen that's a little bit further away, and Ace on a separate one, but I'm not sure if Boo will actually commit to this. He can just buy time with the chains because Fires have to break it off, and they have to be careful not to trigger the pinhead add-ons here, but Ace, or the pinhead not committing to chase. There is still a good amount of time for the chain hunter to trigger again, but Derai's almost certainly going to be going to second stage here as well.
Yeah, almost certain there. Yeah, second stage going to be locked in. No save able to come through again. It's such a rough position now, but such a rough position to be in, especially because this guy is not anywhere remotely close to the hook. It's just going to be on another gen on the side of the map. So instead, Ace going to have to traverse the entire just to get Nia off. It's going to be happening soon. In the meantime, Swatter here on the Renato just trying to survive a little bit longer. Pinhead don't care. Why would Boo care about, you know, this healthy survivor in front of him? There's an injured Nia who's just been hooked. This is the prime target. Swatter going to be taking that time to do the box once again. Again, you do not see these chain hunts active against these teams quite a whole lot. But Nia being found here is a really bad spot as well. Is there anything here to actually work with?
No, there's nothing over here. You can get some really unlucky tile spawns on Autohaven, but she's just running over to the corner to die, so that when she gets hooked, at least it will be away from these gens that have some good progress on them. We should be seeing a gen pop for this. Yeah, Renato will pop his gen. Aces is very close, so whoever is chased, the other can just pick up that gen. But going into now a 2v1 with one gen remaining, it seems very unlikely that more than one survivor will be able to escape.
Yeah, seems like almost Swatter got lost there and just seemed like not really able to find him. So they're going to be focusing on this last one. This is quite a progressed gen, so maybe a little bit spooky, but Boo isn't in a particular rush, knows that there aren't a whole lot of gens around the map that have been massively pressured out beside that one. A lot of stacks to save best for last to work through as well, so even if he decides to commit to a chase and say the Ace instead of the Renato for some reason, yes, it wouldn't be ideal, but you would still have a lot of reduction from those hits coming through after the first hit and then the second, so still not a bad idea to commit to that in the slightest. And yeah, it is going to be Ace here, likely going to have the chase actually finally committing. Yeah, checks on the gen, realize still regressing, thinks yeah, it's go time right now.
He does also have the option to just sort of stand at that gen like he saw for a little bit, where he can stand there, use the chains once again as a scouting tool, and that wasn't happening. But Renato has started a completely different gen, as Boo appears to be committing to Ace, but no, actually yes, he is. And Ace is running away. Ace is the obsession, so there will be a little bit of lost value on the best for last, but at this point it kind of has done its job, and Ace has run over to the spot, so we can be getting chain head.
Yeah, yep. Going to be picked up here. Yeah, he's going to be picking himself for that one. Chain Hunt's going to be active, and now that gen that Swatter was working on, not a whole lot. Free hit is just going to be coming through on account of that Chain Hunt 2 running all the way down here. It's this is what we in the industry like to call a problem. You know, your ace is stuck in the corner, you're chained, you're stuck up against a wall. Average Saturday evening, I suppose.
Yeah, good luck finishing that chase. Good luck finishing that gen when the Chain Hunt comes in, as Swatter has decided to take a position in the main building. It looks like he's either hovering for a beamer save or just trying to not be found. He's not being hit by chains at the moment. Pinhead is just looking for him, and if nothing else, this can buy the time for Boo to just go to those gens, see which ones have been being worked on, kick them, and all of that. And this is now a point in the game where you're not really playing for gens. You don't have the ability to do that right now.
Yeah, gens are completely off the table right now. There's just too much pressure that's been applied. You're looking to minimize damage, and hook stages, when push comes to shove, can matter. So you're just going to be trying to look to hide, make sure that you don't get found, and yeah. I mean, as you can see, when the ace is down on the floor, despite the fact that Chain Hunt is technically active, they're not going to be actively spawning on the Renato, so it's going to be chilling. Slapping the back of a car doesn't really help your odds of survival, mate, but, you know, too.
Yeah, an interesting thing we've seen in this match is You know, Wretched Shop, the main building, has got like 2 possible window spawns and one's
Mhm.
better than the other. We got the good window spawn here, but we haven't actually seen any chases around main, which is usually where survivors want to run against most killers. It's possibly that the orientation of this window is not as accessible to the rest of the map as it could be, but this is a strong resource that just has not been used up right now.
Yeah, every now and then you just hear some heartbeats coming through. Maybe getting a little bit if you're Renato here, but again, this is just this is just standard affair. Walk around the map, try and deny hatch. I believe they're offering. I believe one of the requirements is that there's an offering to spawn the hatch shack, so you're not particularly worried if you're not particularly worried if you're boot here. You know exactly where that is right now. You're just making sure that no funny business can take place. Again, it is so easy to get complacent when you're in such a strong position like this. Just going to be letting Chain rip there all the way through the sky. See if you can find a stray survivor hiding behind a rock. But it's good to not get complacent. Just check on all the gens, make sure that all your bases are covered, and then once the ace is actually dead or close to death, actually finding the box again. Is this going to be revealing the location?
It's not, apparently.
Guess not. Interesting.
We do
Learn
have
something new every day.
We do have a Hatchet Shack offering, I believe, but we saw there was one exit gate by the shack, and the other exit gate is on the opposite corner of the map, which makes that a little bit more tricky to play out as killer. If the last survivor is just camping the opposite door, you just will not make it to them in time.
Yeah.
So
Renato has decided the best use of his time is getting his squats in. I mean, you're running a lot, so I guess it makes sense. You know, get that leg strength up, King. I suppose he's going to be approaching main now. Going to be seeing whether. Nope, still not being able to figure out where Renato is. Any chance of a fair view? Nope, nothing. No, nothing so exciting. Unfortunately, this is the I believe it's what we call just business at the end of the day. Again, Boo being very careful, very. Just not getting complacent. Don't really care if there's a bleed out here. A kill is a kill at the end of the day. Knows that none of these gens are going to be done. So looks like the final result is going to be 4 gens, and yeah, just going to be committing finally to this hook at the end. So it looks like the final result is just going to be 4 gens completed. Yeah, 4 gens completed at the very end, and get those extra hook stages while you can.
We have gotten word that the reason that Renato didn't scream is because he's running Calm Spirit. So he's basically the best person to be the last one standing here. And that's maybe a part of why he was the person on box duty this game. But that perk is definitely putting in work for the survivors here.
Yeah, Sorry and Shin didn't even consider yet, but yeah, Calm Spirit prevents screaming of any kind, and that does include screaming when the chain hunt actually activates. So yeah, nice little heads up play there. Again, you wonder how much of it is luck, you whether how pre-planned, but if it's able to get you an escape, deny a couple of the hook stages for the killer, you'll take what you can get. As Boo just, you know, checking every single knocker right now, it'll be pretty interesting for SWAT to try and go for a rescue here.
But it is one of those things where, as the killer's perspective, maybe you know that it could be in play, but you don't know if it's on that particular survivor because he's had no interaction with Renato the entire game. So you can't tell. Does Renato have this one perk that might counter me? Is he in a locker, which we saw Boo searching a little bit, suspecting that might be the reason he wasn't screaming when the box was found. But
maybe Renato climbed a tree or something, you know.
True, you know.
Look up every now and then. I think that's the new survivor meta. Just climb into a tree, hide behind a rock. Just climb the gates at the side of the. Just climb the gates at the side of the map.
That's why you let the IGL.
Yeah, the boys, obviously. They're telling SWAT what to do right now, telling them to stick by the exit gate. Yeah, realizing that it's going to be shut. And yeah, as you mentioned, this could actually be a very cheeky escape here. Obviously, it is going to get ran right towards, but yeah, looks like there's not going to be enough time to interrupt this with a chain. Don't quite have the range on it. So, you know what? Fair play there. Yeah, the exit gate spawns really working in SWAT's favor here. Looks like there's going to be a cheeky last-minute escape. That chain is going to be a little bit rough, but it's not going to be able to prevent the escape entirely. Denying hook stages there, that's exactly what you want here. Obviously not the greatest, not the greatest performance if you're Ionix there, but every single stage could matter at the end of it.
Yeah, that's big if the next game does come down to a 4K1. Absolutely. It has to be a 4K1 with all deaths, because Renato was completely unhooked.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna be taking a little bit of a break here, just going into next game. That was just to check, yeah, that was Tremor on the killer side that time, putting in a very strong performance. Gonna be seeing whether Ionix is able to match it, whether that little last minute Renato play at the exit gate is gonna be making a difference, or whether it will all be for naught. So don't go anywhere, we'll be back very shortly. Strong performance there initially from Tremor on the Cenobite. Going to be seeing whether Ipic on Ionix wants to be counteracting this one out. Obviously, Boo putting in a whole lot of work there. Interesting swap up here. We're going to be seeing some change in add-ons. First of all, Greasy Black Lens. I think that's going to be meaning that you reveal survivors' auras when they're hit with the chain. Give yourself maybe a little bit more lethality in the chase there. Very interesting, actually, not running the Impaling Viler. Then Agitation. Really, banking on getting value from the Scourge hooks there. Just use the Agitation. Make sure that every single first hook that you get is going to be a Scourge hook, but can't quite have the snowbally effect in chase that saved the best for last time. As Adam is going to get found first with the box. Actually, that is a pretty bad start.
Yeah, and it's entirely possible that Adam is not the survivor that they want to be chased. We'll have to see what his build is, but typically you want the box person to be playing a little bit more in the background, and also keeping in mind that on this team we are playing Russia versus NA, and Sox is one of the NA West players, so these are going to be some very interesting hits from his perspective in this chase. As now he's injured, he's in deep wound, he does have a jungle gym tile to play, he's going to pre-drop that, dodges the chain on the long wall as the chase will continue here. Surely the other three survivors are working gens in the background, as there's nothing else to do. We find Ania setting up for a head-on at the tile. Get the game sense on Ipic. Surely there's no way he knew she was there.
Yeah, silver lining, if you can call it. Adam is going to be finishing the box. Wait, is the box even going to be able to be finished? Yes, just barely in the meantime, getting incredibly close to the end of the deep wound there, but my god, that was, well, yeah, that's some absolutely tremendous game sense there coming out from Ipic, just realizing that there was a head-on play being set up there, and now there's so much pressure because the chase is just going to come back through onto the Adam, going to get 2 downs, hopefully a hooks shortly, and that's what you expect, and yeah.
Yeah, against some of the lower tier killers, this kind of head-on play in the beginning is kind of a set play, so he was probably just expecting that based on how the survivors were playing, but Sox also getting mind-gamed at this small end of a seawall. This will be a hook onto him as well. Another Painter's possibly, or a basement hook, but Shack Pallet is down, so Sox is going basement, and this is part of the value of Agitation. You don't even need to go for Scourge hooks always. If you can just secure a more easily defendable hook, and make sure that no one ever leaves the territory that you want to defend, and they're going to have to see if they can actually get Sox out of here, but there's a good number of gens that are far away from the basement, as I believe the gen that did pop earlier was kind of close to it. But Ipic is content to leave. He does see the box being worked, not going to go there, would rather look for these far gens, but also just hovering in the middle. There's long lines of sight on Wretched Shop, so he'll be able to see if someone is going for the basement save without having to actually hover there that closely.
Yeah, exactly. If you get just right spot, and I think that was actually, yeah, so Nia trying to run away there is going to be stopped in her tracks, but really suspecting something with this basement hook, wants to just stay to it. Yeah, Caesar scratch mark's going to be following right in there, and we're going to be seeing whether, actually, no. Okay, very interesting there. Going in, maybe considering the rescue from basement, but at the end of the day, realizing, maybe not the best option. We're just going to let Sock hang for a little bit longer, except second stage is going to be happening. Then maybe just buy a little more time for ourselves to do a couple of gens.
This is also one of the things about playing second is both teams know what the win condition is. They don't have to worry about, do I play a little bit more greedy here so that we have a better win con next game? They know what they have to do. The survivors don't have to get out, so they can just pop all gens. Ipic knows this as well. We do have the unhook coming in, and Ipic will be returning. This will be, at a minimum, a third tag. Ace will get hit here as well, and almost certainly going to go for the tunnel out onto Adam as another gen pops. So we're getting even closer to this win con, as the gens are also rather split compared to what we had before. Actually, there's still a decent 3-gen around Shack, so one of those has to be broken. But we're getting greasy lens value here. Actually, Adam taking him down. And here's the note: Adam has Calm Spirit as well. He was the person who went to the box. So it seems
Yeah,
like the
Firecracker.
teams are agreeing Calm Spirit is the way to go for your box person.
Yeah, exactly. So that raises the question at the very start of how did Adam get found so early, so easily? You know, they had him assigned to the box, had him pick it up, but then just got found out and then hound down inside a snowball, which led to a decent position here for Epic. Obviously, yes, the Wicon is very scary. If there are 2 gens completed, then this, if there are at least 2 just completed here, then this set just goes to Tremor. However, I mean, however, a couple of injuries. Reset did come through barely, but now it's 2 live to on the run. Obviously playing a pretty tough tile here, unless that is the case. That is the one person that did not want to be found here, but does get found anyway, and that is another hit through the window.
And the chain hunt. So Nancy is getting tagged here too. May actually commit. No, it's not going to commit. This will be a pickup onto Ace. And like, I'm going to wager that the reason I picked Found Adam at the beginning was because he was going to the box and not looking for survivors explicitly. You can kind of figure out where the box is going to spawn based on knowledge of the spawn shrouds, and it may have just been that as the reason. But another hook, Nancy being tagged is a liability for her, and it's one less person that could go for that save. So, kind of up to Nia here, but the survivors are under the pressure to get 2 more gens done. They probably don't have time to reset Nancy as well as go for the save, and we see Nancy, who was working on the 1 gen that was removed from everything, gets the 7%. She's now being chased, dodges the chain. So this is the best place for Nancy to be working a generator if she's going to have to stay injured, so correct play there. But now Nancy, or Nia rather, is being found on the rotation for the pull, and this is very unlucky because she has to 1-for-1 if she's going to pull at all, but she's deciding to just take her chase, run away. Ace is certainly going second stage, and yeah, I think she's going to go back.
Hodge came through. Yeah, don't really seem to care about that. Resilience on Nancy is going to make this quite awkward. This hit is likely just going to be guaranteed here after very nice chain. Kenshi on the Ace going to be going to stage 2. But yeah, Resilience on the dead team makes it, interesting enough, a pretty decent candidate to be during. As you said earlier, provided that you're doing which are relatively safe and you have a lot of wing room, a lot of places to walk to, that makes a cool difference at the end. Then she also stage, yeah, both the survivors injured. It will not be a safe unhook unless a reset can come through and then a save can happen. But there just doesn't seem to be enough time for that, given Kenshi's yeah, especially finding Boo here. Definitely not enough time for that.
But critically, because in the last game, a survivor got out fresh, a 4K1 here with all 4 survivors dying is a win. So with Kenshi almost certainly going to die on hook, Ronnie running off in the distance, injured, this could be even a 4K2. Because we also have Chain Hunt coming in very shortly. That will be Ace getting unhooked, but that means that I think knows where the last 2 survivors are, and they're both injured. He'll just go ahead and pick.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be another fresh hook as well. Going to be very happy to take this one. Could even pop it in the basement should so wish, but honestly, likely, yeah, just going to be going to this Scourge hook over here with both of the injured survivors who are getting tagged with chain after chain after chain. It is an absolute symphony of pain right now for this roster, and oh my lord, this going to be picking up the box ultimately at the end of the day to try and sort out a little bit, but this is a really bad spot to be in.
Yeah, it's so hard to recover from here. There's just so many things that you have to do, but you don't have time. You don't even have the bodies for everything. You've got to solve the box. You've got to reset. You've got to unhook your teammate, and you still have gens to do. And there's not as many resources left. All of the chases are occurring like away from the top line.
You summoned me.
Oh,
I
a funny phrase.
Oh, he did what? Oh, okay. Unbelievable that. But yeah, going to be teleporting right there, and that's the issue. Everyone's injured during the... It's so lost. Knock them down like that. I think it's going to be... Yeah, so fresh hook on every single survivor now. Already been achieved even. And I think it's a really strong landing position. To be able to do even a single gen, let alone 2 here, from... yeah, to do a single gen here, let alone 2, from the Ionic side is going to be pretty desperate play.
This is certainly in IPIC's control. because he can even afford to let that gen of distance go, because 4K1 for him is still basically a win condition. Because the fact that the survivors are injured and not resetting, if he is trying to find that last survivor in endgame, it is so much easier for him than Boo had trying to find a healthy Renato with Calm Spirit.
Yeah, definitely going to be trying that here, as we do look to be, yeah, very commanding position. Boo likely just going to be ending up camped to death, unfortunately. And yeah, you're really on the back foot here. Everyone's injured. It was just kind of a cacophony of disaster that ended up going on. They do actually manage to get that last gen out, so, but I think as we established, the hook stages are already better. It's going to take an absolute miracle to actually get the final gen completed. It is still possible here for Ionix to pull this back. If by some miracle they're able to get this last gen done, I do believe that would still be a win for them. Obviously, gens done is the primary consideration here. But you look at where Nancy is. Oh, big life, actually. That buys a little more time.
Yeah, the survivors do have to pop the last gen if they want to win, but at this point, the last 3 gens are close to each other. Ronnie's in chase with the box, and because of the fact that the Calm Spirit survivor was the first one to die, when this next chain hunt triggers, it will reveal Ace's location if he's not hiding in a locker. We do see him working a gen through Nancy's POV, but
Yes,
I think Pinhead's going over to him. No? Only 25%. The chase is still on Nancy. The greasy lens giving him information on what Nancy's trying to do. Now the chain hunt will come in. We know where Ace is. He's injured. He has almost nothing to work with on the side of the map, I think. We see him pre-leaving. Goes to a seawall. He's got a hill. He might have balance, but oh well. Ace is accepting.
Yeah, understanding there that the win condition at the end of the day was just a little too insurmountable. Yes, they got 4 generators done, but a fresh hook on every single survivor, plus 10 stages, likely going to be 11, 12 at the very end here of the match. So full clear, 4K from Epic, about as clean as a killer game as you can get. Going to be shutting the hatch for good measure. No adrenaline from the side of Ronnie, and yeah, she's going to be destined to watch all of her friends slowly die off in the sky.
Yeah, so even though we have 2 4K1s, the fact that Ionix got a survivor out in the end game of the previous match means they will take the dub on this set. And this is the set that Tremor wanted. A little unfortunate, but we will have a Plague set coming in next, and that's what Ionix wanted. So presumably a set they're very comfortable with, and it'll also mean they're playing Killer going into that. They have the momentum.
Yeah, giving themselves a little bit of momentum here. Obviously, very strong performance here from Ionix, and also just not particularly ideal here for Tremor. You know, you pick your own killer and you don't actually get to execute on your plan properly. You don't get the win that you're expecting. So right now we do have Ionix going 1-up in this series, looking to shut it out on the next map as the Plague. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be back after a very short break.
All right, folks, we've got a change of scenery. We're moving over to Torment Creek for Plague between Ionix and Tremor. Ionix taking the last set. Now they're looking to close out. We'll see how this one plays out. We've got SH on the Plague, throwing up on some gens. We've got a Hematite Seal and Fanatophobia really going for the puke on the gen strat, keeping the vomit on those gens for as long as possible, trying to get everyone infected, get that Thana value, make sure that you can't keep any survivors healthy for the slowdown. Traveling around the map, not seeing any evidence of survivors, no crows flying off, no scratch marks. Actually, maybe think she saw something? But does not appear to be anything. Now is going to be looking into some tiles. Still no sign of where survivors might be, and I think the corrupt split was kind of interesting, because no, I guess not. There is still one's kind of close. Actually, yeah, the main building gen is uncorrupted, and instead you had one that was corrupted a little bit further away. Not ideal. This will mean survivors could possibly work to break that topside 4 gen relatively early, but we just can't seem to find where they are.
Yeah, also very interesting here. Yeah, as you said, Hematite Seal is just going to mean the generators stay infected for longer. Yeah, right out of the corner of your eye there, you can see the animal on the side. Maybe they may not notice that, or just may not care, is just focusing on locking all of these generators down, especially with Corrupt. Yeah, it looks like eventually, finally, Nancy's going to bite the bullet, start working on one of those infected gens. Boo is going to get into the chase here on the Nia. Does have this relatively isn't set up to work with here, pallet is going to be forced to be broken eventually. Gonna be seeing whether our Plague wants to ingest or, you know, just consume that corruption. Yeah, 2 infections might as well. You know that they're going to be cleansed eventually. You know the location. You have a survivor or 2 kind of locked in this corner. Might as well now give yourself the chase power, give yourself a little bit of lethality, because clock's ticking.
Yeah, this is the moment where we saw the Adam running earlier, so we know Adam was here, Nia was here. We saw as soon as that first chase on Nia started, Ronnie got straight on a gen, so we know when the gen progress is starting. Nia crouched second, but it's not quite going to work. That's an early down thanks to the use of the power, and we'll have to see if that investment pays off, because now we have 2 survivors fully infected. Adam is now also starting his infection, so this will actually be Thanatophobia fully proccing already, really slowing down this progress. That was also Pain Resonance on the Nia's hook. Once again, seeing Agitation come in as a way of securing the exact hooks that the killer wants, and now also another survivor off the distance, and Red Puke is still up. It won't secure the down, and Plague is going to break chase and sort of go back to holding this top side. There's no reason to be anywhere else. You've got all your gens up here, you've got your hook up here, and all survivors are fully infected. Even if you don't have your Red Puke anymore, they're still one-shot by an M1.
Yeah, exactly. The Blessed Apple also stopping there just right at the very start. Maybe, obviously, at the start of every trial, Plague is going to spawn with at least one of those fountains corrupted. Maybe with that Blessed Apple, that was the one which actually allowed the down to come through very quickly, instead of having to go across all the way to the other side of the map just to get the decent chase power. So maybe some luck, maybe it's the add-on, who knows? Maybe a little bit of both. Whatever. I don't think you're complaining here if you're the Plague. You're just happy with your very early down, and yeah, rough position for every single survivor to be in. You can afford to camp this out. As you say, Thanatophobia on everyone. I believe that's a 20%, maybe even more than that slowdown. I don't recall the exact numbers, but that's a whole lot of slowdown. You don't have to worry about staring these gens in the face the entire time.
For sure. And if we're thinking of Plague from the perspective of chase, you have your Red Puke is that one window of opportunity you have where you're incredibly strong. So you have 2 with the Blessed Apple, and if you're going to get any value out of that add-on, a good first chase is all you could ask for any set. And she still has possibly one more to go somewhere on the map. But now Ronnie takes it down, and he's probably going back on that same hook. And it's also a Pain Resonance, so yeah.
Yeah, Pain Resonance as well. Even more slowdown. Everyone's still injured. Thanatophobia still going to be applying. By this stage of the game, you generally expect to see at least 2, if not 3 generators done. But this slowdown has been going absolutely crazy here from the Plague. And yeah, it's just a little bit wild. This is the debate that you always have to answer with Plague. Am I going to leave myself injured the entire game, susceptible to that one-shot down, or am I going to give her one of the best chase powers in the game? That can be an incredibly tough decision to make, even for the best teams, because as you can see right now, sometimes don't get the choice, and sometimes you think that being injured ain't going to be such a bad thing, but that one hit can make all the difference.
We also are seeing the Survivor team wisely splitting their pressure with... We saw that gen in the cornfield that has been pressured repeatedly from that first hook until now. It's the one gen in this sort of topside 4 gen that's more removed from where the hook was. And so they're making the Plague choose, all right, am I going to hold my hook tightly? Am I going to pressure this gen or not? It's allowed survivors to get the... Unlucky.
Yeah.
He's playing for the smash hit. Like, you have to go for it.
Yeah, I mean... You tell you what you can get, you know, it's a tough world out there. You get puked on by a tall Babylonian lady, you drop a pallet down, and then you get put on a meat hook, which sounds like an average Thursday out night in England, don't even worry about it. But, you know, happens to us all. And now is going to be on the side of the map, as we were so speaking, the spread of the corruption here now going to be paying off, naturally taken over here, and suddenly has 60 seconds of this ability to just deal infinite damage. Being injured may not be so bad for these top tier survivors, but being injured against this power, absolutely terrible. And yeah, any kind of cheeky hit could come through very quickly.
Yeah, good luck
Maybe
playing
not
around
this
this one
time,
thing. Ace trying to play for the Alex and knock back out of power. Unfortunately, doesn't win the 50-50. Will go down to the M1, and now this is a hook onto Ace. With Agi almost certainly a Pain is available. That is in fact Agi. And there's still, even though one of these top gen has been broken, there's still a bit of a 3-gen up here, and 1-gen over by Shaq that no one cares about. Although it's very likely they will send someone there to pop that gen just to have a better win con if they're expecting they can't do much. Oof. And
What?
Ace, Adam getting hit by the red
All
cube
over.
from downtown. But
No,
now,
unfortunately,
Ace
not
is
going to be
gone.
able to get that. Yeah, not going to be able to get that hit there. Ace being zoned out, as you say. Adam Francis falling over there happens to the best of us. Life actually being used here, but not really to create distance, just to get another loop out of this. There are now 2 survivors here. I reckon that Ronnie has already been sent over to the Shack generator to just, cut your losses, get what you can done. Because, yeah, it's going to be another down right here. 4K looking very likely, incredibly imminent. But no! Ronnie's over here with the flashlight. What you doing, mate?
And there's another hook and a slug by the hook. This is very dire, and I believe it was the Adam who had no. Ace does have tenacity flip flop, I think, so possibly able to make something work with those 2 perks. As Nancy is pathing away from both of these, I guess looking to pressure this last gen on the bottom side. We'll have to see what her game plan is. It's very possible the survivors over there are calming, like, okay, we still have Terror Radius, the Plague is not leaving, you're free to do whatever, but I'm not sure exactly what Ronnie's play is here. Sort of hovering Shack, like, it is safe here, but not actually accomplishing anything.
They're not committing to a gen either.
Maybe they're waiting for the flip-flop play? That's possible.
Yeah, it seems to be, yeah. Well, yeah, going to be seeing whether that... Well, you have to see whether it actually pays off. It doesn't, because they're both just going to be hooked up anyway. So Ronnie's spending all this time just kind of dancing in circles at Shack, like, hitting the gritty, but, like, what the hell is that going to do, you know? You need to cut your losses, do the gen on this bottom side, but unfortunately, that wasn't able to come through, and that gen can make all the difference, only having to complete 4 gens. Plague is a very tough killer, but that sets the bar, pretty decently for, it sets the bar pretty decently for Tremor to try and accomplish, as, yeah, likely just going to be caught out here. Not a whole lot of room left in this for Nancy anymore.
I think Ronnie was trying to position himself sort of in between those 2 hooks to decide he has sprint burst, he can go for one of those poles, he just needs to know where the Plague is to see if he has an opening, and then he just got caught a little bit off guard. The Plague was coming from behind him, and I don't think he was expecting her to approach from that angle, and then gets a little stuck on that window. That is the down onto Ronnie, last driver standing. This will also be the hook onto Ronnie, and we will have a 4K2 in the first game of this set.
Yeah, 4K, all hook stages, all fresh hooks, and 3 gens completed. I mean, right there you can just see the value from the perk choices. They paid off exceptionally well. Agitation plus Pain Resonance to get that slowdown off of the hooks. The Natophobia, everyone getting infected, everyone getting injured up so quickly for permanent 20% slowdown on the gens. That makes me sick just thinking about it, and that's not just the Plague talking, that was the gameplay, because holy hell, that was a disgusting performance from our Plague here today. We're going to be going to a very quick break, and after that we're going to be seeing whether Tremor can, whether Ionix can pull themselves back in their Survivor round, because that was a really, really rough one. Looks like we might be going the series, looks like we might be going the distance in this series. Don't know anywhere, we'll be back very shortly. And a plague upon the house of Ionix in that last series. It was a really bad early game, and they could not quite recover from it. Now it's going to be on, now it's going to be on Tremor on the killer. Tremor on the killer side of things to try and lock this series out. If you recall, 4 fresh hooks, 12 stages, 2 gens remaining. Provided this team is able to complete at least 4 generators, that is the win in their books. Early infection is going to be coming through onto Ipic, but SWAT are going to be dodging it for the time being.
Yeah, and we see some build adaptations here. This Plague opting for double apple for 3 uses of power, less infection time. Jay starting onto Ace as well, and viewers will note the killer has No Way Out, an endgame perk where the win con is met if we get to endgame. The reason for this is the builds are locked before the set starts. So this was something that Ronnie, or Boo rather, wanted to play, and he's not allowed to change it going into this one. And we have this rule for the sake of consistency of play, more or less. It rewards teams that are consistent. And so Ace now getting the same treatment as we saw in the previous game, that red puke being so oppressive in Chase, early first down, and Boo will have 2 more uses of this power to kind of snowball rolling. Interestingly enough, also, Nia is a healthy survivor, so she can possibly be one to position for this pull once the red puke wears off, and that is what she's doing. She also has FTP in the back pocket, but probably not a terribly effective perk for this use case where Ace is already broken.
Yeah, not going to be useful in the
Spotted.
slightest. And here you can see the. You were saying?
He spotted. He saw her foot just around the corner. Nia getting caught in the transition for the pull with red puke up is such a bad thing. She's running into the cornfield. She is getting as far away from the hook as she can. She's just trying to die far away from that. The red puke does wear out. She will go down to an M1, but the survivors do have time to try and pick up the pull, and they do get it. No, it makes sense. Like, because she was down without it, now her infection will start. And this is the second use of the red puke coming in, looking to snowball on these survivors who are healthy. They are not playing around. Just pre-drop that pallet, but it's not quite going to...
Oh, it doesn't...
Ace dodges it. He jumps locker. But there's two survivors in locker here. I think it's also playing around. Maybe, I think I'd head on, I'm not sure, but that at least will be enough of a distraction to get Ace out of there. He's been hooked before, and a little bit of a chaotic early game. We'll see how this plays out. So much going on. And,
I believe the industry term we use for that is gaming. Not entirely sure what. Not entirely sure what was being cooked here from the side of. Not sure what was being cooked here from the side of Onyx, but they burnt the entire kitchen down in the process. They did waste a lot of time, and somehow Ace actually managed to get out of all of that chaos and what seemed like a certain death. So going to be buying more time. Dodging, ducking, dip diving, leaving all of these, and you have to go for the slam, get out of power. Plague is too aggressive, but not quite working there. Going to be a second hook in the meantime. This is the issue with running this sort of. This is the issue with running this sort of style. Yes, you're able to get almost three bursts of the corruption right off the rip. And that's going to be very strong to get some nice chases in. And yeah, we have been seeing that on the side of the Ace, but eventually you can be left up the creek without a paddle. Not whole lot to do, and obviously, as we mentioned before, yes, it's been locked in early, but no way out. Ain't really going to be doing any favors here for this entire game.
But I mean, Ace did a fantastic job to get all the way to the top side of the map, away from the rest of his teammates. With red puke available, that could have been a snowball, but Ace saved that, pre-dropping once again. This is not going to be a commit to the tunnel out onto him, but that was a really good recovery from what could have been a much worse situation. Boo is going to spot Nia running over to the shack as well, as we have a second generator pop, and we're getting so close to the win con already. It's such a difficult win con to play around. You need an early game, and a good early game, and Boo was so close to getting that, as now his third and probably final apple comes in with another gen so close, and the survivors are just holding W away from that gen. They can die, that's fine, as long as 1-2 more gens pop. And Nia's playing main. She does still have a breakable wall, kind of, and there are some pallets around this. Against the projectile that the red puke is, you do kind of have a little bit more safety if you can find these hay bale loops that the Plague has a harder time, shooting her puke over. But Boo seems to be a little bit conflicted on where he wants to go. It looks like he has decided to just go back to the gens, but this use of his red puke just not quite working out the way he'd hoped.
Yeah, nothing.
This gen's so close.
Call Boo Bonnie Tyler right now, because he's holding out for a hero right now. You need some kind of miracle to, come back from this, as the down is going to be coming through onto the Claudette at the end of the day. But look, 3 survivors are split on generators, and we just saw one of them halfway done, other one likely to be incredibly close to that as well. Resilience as well. Sorry, not Resilience. I believe that's actually, Deja Vu going to be making that just a little bit faster. 5% can make all the difference in this meanwhile. But if your job here is to stop gens from getting done, that sure as hell ain't happening.
Yeah, it's just impossible to try and hold this. The survivors are doing a fantastic job of just dying in the right place. They don't even have to worry about getting a particularly long chase. They can even go for the fast pull, just as long as it's buying them time to make sure the Plague is not pressuring gens. This will be a 1-for-1 trade. Possibly a pain res. It is another pain res coming in that will interrupt a little bit, but Plague now without any red puke and with not enough hooks is in a dire situation. This gen's also very close to being done. Firecracker around the corner, I think does get the blind, but Plague almost able to play around that just from the sound of Ada coughing. Normally a very quiet survivor, but just not quite enough when you're coughing up a lung. energy block on the window, so iPick will have to leave. He's got a rock, and honestly, the rock is just the best loot in the game. I don't have to tell you.
Yeah, I once it was really sad back in the day in primary school where someone just ran around the rock for 10 minutes and I started crying because I couldn't catch up to him when I was playing tag. Works in Dead by Daylight as well, ladies and gentlemen. Seems to work out quite well. Another hook going to be coming through, but it's almost all for naught as another gen has been completed. Boo's best case scenario right now is a very late draw, and that would require fresh hooks on absolutely everyone. It would require playing around hatch and the exit gates at the end. Essentially, not a good time. And yeah, the split of the gens is far too much. Survivor's done a phenomenal job just living. They don't even... They're going for blinds, they're making cheap plays, they're making these very bold 1-1 trades right in front of the killer. Because right now, this is why people get tunneled out the game. So for survivors, it's so hard to keep a lock on them, to keep them all contained, to keep them all herded up. And yeah, we're likely just going to be seeing a gen pot any moment now.
iPick does force the locker pull there, probably intentionally. I don't think that's a head-on play, but that will... They're pulling very, very fast. I guess they just want to keep the play's attention. They only need to pop one more gen here. Actually, yeah, no, they only pop one. And this one, again, that's the win con right there. And it's the ace. Ace popping this gen. If
Oh,
they honestly the hero. He's strong, he's fast. Maybe not the rest from the fight.
I love to see it, but it doesn't matter at this point. Yeah, you can do absolutely whatever. You can do whatever you want now. If you're Eonic survivors, you can just run around in circles. You can play your game however you make it. They actually this last gen as well, so you're gonna be getting some escape spin as well. But yeah, we're gonna be going over here to Eonics.
Yeah, Squatter with the chase me, bro. I've got main building still. But I mean, we will be seeing the No Way Out coming in at least. That will at least be enough, possibly, to secure some more kills. Yeah. Like,
yes, exactly.
There's not a whole lot left on the map. Claudette's only got like some LTs. Oh, she had her Sprint Burst 99. Seeing the value of running, visual and fixated with it, always having that Sprint Burst up in a pinch. And the head-on around main.
No,
oh no!
Come on! You can't be kicking them while they're down. Come on, it's already over. You can't be making plays like that. Unbelievable.
Toxic Swift Police Killer.
Yeah.
We are still playing around main building.
Definitely. Yeah, this Claudette is definitely getting a minus rep on her Steam profile.
They are just waiting out the No Way Out at this point, and it's a little bit unfortunate that the one survivor who has hope and is healthy is the one that's not being chased.
Yeah. It's often the case, if say Deliverance was allowed and you picked that, obviously you would be the first one to be instantly tunneled out of the game. That's just how it works. So if you're a survivor running hope, you aren't getting chased in the end game in the slightest. And I do believe, if I recall correctly, I believe the Eonics also won our Cenobite set, so they are going to be taking this series in a clean 2-0. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it does seem to be the case here. Yeah, it's going to be the case. So Eonics, very strong performance both on the killer and survivor side here, showing their discipline, showing their ability, and yeah, huge props where it's due, especially to Boo, just, playing both of these killers to an incredibly high level, and yeah, working it all out.
We're also seeing iPick and Swatter kind of being a duo here. We had Swatter being chased around main, iPick's there for the head-on, iPick goes down, Swatter's hovering with the beamer. Now it's Nia who's being chased with the hope. Not healthy anymore, but little bit of a check spot fail. This will be the down onto the Nia. But there's Claudette's around. No, she's not. I'm blind. My apologies.
I also don't think it. Yeah, it also doesn't really matter. This is an every man for himself scenario because you've already won the game. They could run in circles, they could click their flashlights, they could have a dance, they could eat a lovely steak dinner at the exit gate, and it would not mean a thing for this series. Eonics, very clean 2-0 in the matchup here today. Well played to Trem, but at the end of the day, the power of Eonics just reigns through. And that is very strong, going to be going through in the winner's bracket and making a statement here that they are not to be trifled with in this tournament.
Still, a 2K9 is a respectable result in of itself, just not able to have quite as good of an early game as he would have liked, which is really what went wrong in the previous match, and still well played.